Mr. Thanksgiving. That's all I'm gonna tell y'all. Get a plate.
You already know, man. It's Camp Band of Cannon, man. If you don't know, now you know.
Yes, sir. It's the Prince Willie the Kid, my crown on tilt, man. Doing my thing, man. AMG. Sing regime, man. Holla at us.
Everyday shit, you know what I mean? Y'all got the story last time we was on Hustle Up DVD, so now y'all can just see what the hustle really is.
Basically, you know, we was in our office. It was the day after Martin Luther King birthday, and you know, regular back to work day, pretty much. You know, I was outside about to do an interview. Next thing I know, Tahoe jumped up on the street corner. You know, about six to eight officers and Cobra units. You know, jumped out, M16s drawn, told everybody to get on the ground, freeze, and you know whatnot. So under the circumstances, you know, all I was trying to do was just stay calm, you know what I'm saying, figure out what was going on. So, you know, I mean, all I have to go on is the affidavit, you know what I mean, which says that, you know, the police chief of Morrow walked into a mall in South Lake Mall. Walked into a mall in Morrow, which was South Lake Mall, saw the kiosk of CDs, and, you know, which somehow, some way led him to the affiliates, you know what I mean? So when we were arrested, we were told we were being locked up for bootlegging and racketeering, which, you know, we would later come to find out those weren't the actual official charges because we haven't been indicted. But, you know, other than that, I don't really have anything to go off for why this would happen, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, I've been doing my thing for years. Mixtapes have been a part of hip-hop for years, so, you know, it's not like I was doing anything crazy or, you know, so it came as a shock to me. You know, but I mean, I've always worked out hand in hand with the record labels. I've always worked hand in hand with the artists. When it comes to my mixtapes, I've gotten a lot of support. You know, I got to the point where, you know, my mixtapes and what I did was a standard in the industry. You know what I'm saying? Everyone pretty much wanted to come see me or came to see me. You know, I worked with some of the greats, and, you know, some of the mixtapes that I've done in a lot of ways have helped a lot of record labels and a lot of artists sell a lot of records. And, you know, I mean, hip-hop was founded on mixtapes and the mixtape game, and, you know, what starts in the streets and then, you know, goes on to become gold, platinum, and, you know, diamond for that matter. I mean, you take an artist like 50 Cent, you know, he wouldn't be who he was if it wasn't for mixtapes, and now, you know, he's a, you know, over $100 million man, and, you know what I'm saying, is the face of hip-hop in a lot of ways, and, you know, his movie came from mixtapes. So, you know, mixtapes are vital to everything in the hip-hop business, and, you know, I just, at some point, there's obviously a breakdown in communication between, you know, the RIAA, between the record labels, and between the streets and the DJs on, you know, how important mixtapes are. And, you know, people just have to understand that what I do and what mixtapes are, you know, especially with what I do, is not a bootleg, you know what I'm saying? I make a piece of art, you know, I make a fresh piece of work. People come to see me for those reasons. So, you know, the last thing that I would consider what I do or want to be called is bootlegger or bootlegger.
You know what I mean? A lot of people, like, you know, like to talk about their master plan and everything. Like, you know, when you working, you doing what you supposed to be doing, what you love to be doing, and kind of, you know what I mean, just being able to feed yourself with something that's, you know what I'm saying, with something that's coming natural. So, like, it was, we had a plan, we had a vision, but we were so deep into it at the time, even on the come up, it's like we didn't even realize how big it was getting, and it just started to really just grow and grow and grow. And we was so caught up in just grind mode that when it hit, and we was like, good, we out of here. You know what I mean? And, like, you know, one thing leads to another. Like, the mixtape game is a great game to get into the business.
The mixtape game, you know, the game needs us. I mean, we really are the street A&Rs. We're the ears and the eyes to, you know, what's about to happen. I mean, you know, just look at the last 20 years and, you know, what mixtapes have meant in so many different ways.
There was a mixtape scene in the South, like, of course, before we was here and everything. And then, you know, you got to think, like, just even with what 50 brought to the game, like, mixtapes blew up every fucking where. So Atlanta was no different, you know what I mean? Like, people was paying attention here and in Texas in the same way just as much. But the one thing I will say about the South is, while niggas was scrambling up top, and it was almost like a rat race, you know what I mean? Like, dollar for dollar type tapes, niggas in the South was getting money. How we came up, like, me, Sense, and Cannon came up, like, we were in positions, we put ourselves in good positions.
Met, like, 98, 99, 97, I came in after them. Put the pieces of the puzzle together. Even though he was over here doing what he's doing, he was over here doing what he's doing. Since was doing what he's doing, we always linked up. You know, kept the bond tight.
A lot of times, it's a lot of rappers, and, you know what I mean, everybody come with their own talent and everybody come with their own story and everything, but, you know, like, it's best to, you know, everybody doesn't always come with a movement.
The thing people have to understand is I'm not defined by January 16th, or I'm not defined by the raid in my studio. I've been doing this thing since '92. I come here to win. I come here to really play ball. You know what I'm saying? This is the 9th inning. I'm gonna hit a grand slam. Period. So, my motivation is really like, this is just the beginning of my career. People always ask me, what was your big break? I get them every day. January 16th was another big break for me.